Hey there, welcome to episode 81 of the Social Business Engine podcast, the podcast where I invite leaders from brands across all industries who are excited to share with you, the modern business executive, how to use social media in your business strategy. I'm Bernie Borges, CEO of Find and Convert, and your host of the Social Business Engine podcast. On today's episode, you're going to meet Justine Velcich. Justine is Manager of Global Community Programs at Hootsuite. Hootsuite is an award-winning social media management system that empowers people to execute social media strategies across their entire organization. On this episode, we're going to dive deep into Hootsuite's global online community of users. Specifically, we're going to discuss how Hootsuite has been able to mobilize advocates around the world through their ambassador community and the impact that it's having on their business. Now, on this episode, I have a co-host, and this is the second time that I'm joined by Mel Attia, Vice President of Marketing at Vanilla Forums, joining me from beautiful Montreal once again. Mel, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Thank you for having me again, Bernie, at this great podcast.
Absolutely. Well, Mel, for those who may not be familiar with Vanilla Forums, I'll provide a brief introduction again. Vanilla Forums is the creator of a leading online community forum platform used by companies to engage customers, employees, and fans. In fact, Mel, as you know, we've published a social business journal issue with Vanilla that's titled The Community Playbook. This guide provides all the information needed to launch an online community and keep it thriving. This journal is available for download at our website at socialbusinessengine.com. People can just visit the journals page or visit the show notes page for this episode at our website for a link to download the Community Playbook from Vanilla Forums. And for those listeners that are mobile right now, if you're wondering if it's mobile friendly, the answer, of course, is absolutely it is. If you're subscribed by email to get our weekly podcast updates, which we send out every Friday, then you've already been notified about this journal. And if you're not subscribed to our weekly updates, just visit our subscribe page at our website, socialbusinessengine.com. So Mel, let's bring in Justine Velcich from Hootsuite. Justine, welcome to the Social Business Engine podcast.
Hi, Bernie and Mel. It's great to be here today. Thanks so much for having me.
Terrific. Yeah, well, thanks for being here. Well, Justine, let's begin our conversation today with a description of your role at Hootsuite as Manager of Global Community Programs. And while you're providing that overview, maybe you can also explain the business case for launching the Advocate program at Hootsuite.
Sure thing, Bernie. So community at Hootsuite is actually a division of marketing. It's comprised of 4 regional community management teams. So that is North America, LATAM, EMEA, and APAC, plus a global programs team that I manage. They run all of our community programs and work with the regions to execute in their markets. Our community programs include Swag and our online store, the Hoot Up program, which is essentially social media meetups, and an external advocacy program, which is our brand ambassador community. And to your question regarding the business case, there was actually never a formal business case to launch an advocate program. It was really something that organically grew over time from the community team connecting and engaging over Twitter with some of our biggest super fans. The program officially began in 2012 after identifying a core group of these super fans. They are basically social practitioners. They were already power users of our tool. Our brand resonated with them, and they were just really keen to build a deeper relationship with our brand. So back in 2012 was pretty much when the program initially began. There were only 55 ambassadors represented across 15 countries. So if you fast forward to today, we've grown nearly 2,000% over the past almost 4 years. We're at 1,400 ambassadors now, represented in over 70 countries in actually 400 plus cities. So it's really grown organically through the last 3 years of just the community growing and growing.
Wow.
That's really spectacular, Justine. So in mobilizing these folks and in the program to put this together, what were your original goals when you put this together?
When we first launched, we didn't actually have set program goals and established metrics. The goals soon turned into growth targets, though. So just trying to get as many brand ambassadors into the program and expanding our social reach and increasing the global breadth of the program.
So, Justine, in terms of once you've launched this program, I mean, what have been sort of the unexpected benefits that you've reaped from this program of mobilizing together all of these great fans?
The biggest unexpected benefit, I would say, is that they have essentially just wanted to connect to one another all around the world and grow and expand in dark corners of the globe, essentially, that we never would have been able to be represented in otherwise. They are out there trying to educate their community on social media using Hootsuite resources and can actually build little pockets of communities around social where we would never have staff, we would never, host an event. They've just been a real great extension of the Hootsuite family.
And Justine, this is a private online community, correct? An ambassador has to join and get accepted. Is that how it works?
That's correct, Bernie. So it is there is an onboarding process. So anybody can really apply to become a Hootsuite ambassador. Once they submit an application form through the regional teams, there are regional leads within the teams that go through and vet hundreds of applications that come through. They do certain checks in terms of seeing how active they are using Hootsuite, how active they are in social. They do sort of a social background check to see that they're a good fit for the program itself.
So a little bit of a vetting process then.
Exactly. Yes, definitely. There is a vetting process. I can say that over the last 3 years, vetting process has become a little bit more strict, but only because we're really looking for those people that are the super fans of our brand and really know our tool inside and out.
So how do you measure the results, right? How do you tell that there's growth quarter over quarter, or that a specific region or group of ambassadors is really having a greater impact?
We measure engagement rate within the ambassador group, as well as just overall interactions and activity as a whole. So one of the big things in terms of just collecting growth over growth data is first seeing how many ambassadors we are onboarding, how many new cities we're onboarding ambassadors in. We have a target of 5 new cities every quarter to be able to host events and onboard ambassadors within those key cities so that we're able to continually grow the program across the world. We also look at the amount of engagement on social platforms. So the conversation going on around the big hashtag we use is hashtag HootAmb is the big one that we identify with the program, and tracking chatter online through various different networks.
Great. So super interesting in seeing how this has exploded and helped you reach into corners of the globe that was not necessarily planned for, but certainly helping you grow your business. What is sort of the next step? Where are you going with this? What do you see as the future of the program?
So as I mentioned, the last 3 years of the program have really been focused on the hyper growth of numbers. There is value in casting a large net and trying to attract as many ambassadors that are willing and eager and a good fit for your brand. But 3 years of hypergrowth with the program, actually with the company itself, has been great. But now we're at the stage where we really want to dive in and focus on quality over quantity. So that's been the main sort of theme around 2016 for us, is coming into the new year, how can we adjust our program slightly so that we're focusing on the quality of engagement by our ambassadors and that engagement ratio versus just how many ambassadors we can welcome into the program quarter over quarter. When I'm describing the engagement ratio, we're looking at how we can increase the quality of engagement with the same amount of ambassadors that we have in the program and focusing on the quality of it. So instead of just sharing our content out on social or engaging through conversationally on Twitter, we're looking at ambassadors to really do quality interactions with the program, such as writing blog posts about our tool or about Hootsuite, or sharing product reviews that are really valuable to us. So those are ways that we would value and weight those interactions with our ambassadors heavier weighted than just chatter on social media, which is kind of what it was based around before.
Okay. So Justine, at the beginning of our conversation, you said that you're part of the marketing organization. Am I right about that?
That's correct.
Okay. So can you characterize, I think you've already been addressing this, but I'd like to maybe focus a little bit of our conversation a little bit more directly on this, my question of how does the ambassador community contribute to the marketing strategy at Hootsuite?
I think the big thing to note, so it's actually fairly new that community as a department and being a division under marketing, that's actually a somewhat new shift in the way that we sat. We previously used to sit as a freestanding department, and now that we're part of the marketing group, it's allowed us to participate in some of the marketing efforts that we didn't so closely participate in previously. I think the big thing to note is that, yes, while we are a division of marketing, the way that community operates is still different from sort of the mantra of marketing, in which case we really focus on the relationship building with our customer base and with our ambassadors and all of the programs that we run, as opposed to this sort of selling aspect, which is just traditionally what marketing is based on. Social engagement is absolutely a part of what marketing does, and it's a tactic that community does as well. But community's focus is really around the loyalty and the relationship building of our customer base.
So how do you mobilize your ambassadors to extend your marketing programs? How do you leverage them to do more with what's being put together from marketing?
Absolutely, Mel. So a big thing for us is now, and like I said, we're able to now closely work with the marketing department now that we're a part of it. We all have access to the same marketing roadmap. So we have certain campaigns that are planned out throughout the year. Before, community used to really run our programs independently, whereas now we are able to have that foresight of what's upcoming throughout the year for every quarter, and we can start to actually drive engagement within our community and within our ambassadors to fit that same marketing roadmap. So if there's a specific campaign or push in Q1, we are able to tailor our efforts within the ambassador program to align ourselves with the marketing roadmap. So if there's a specific focus in Q2 of next year that the marketing department is focused on, we can sort of craft the same challenges within the ambassador program to fit that same campaign. Or we can create contests around amplifying social content that fits and aligns with that focus for Q2 for marketing. So it's a great synergy between the two departments now.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm thinking about my listeners right now who can be at a brand anywhere in the world and maybe thinking that they don't have an ambassador program, they don't have this community that you've built of raving fans that are online together, they go through a vetting process, and then they're advocates for the brand. So what I'd like to talk a little bit about, Justine, is can you offer some guidance, some advice? How does a brand launch a program like this? How does a brand just do the planning? What are some lessons learned that you can share with our listeners here that can kind of get them started?
I would say that a piece of advice for how to start thinking, and when you're considering building and starting a community of brand ambassadors, don't only think about what benefit your ambassador community can bring to your business. I think the big thing to note is that it is a two-way street, and it has to be a give and take relationship. And if it's not mutually beneficial, then the interest will soon fizzle. So I always constantly reminding myself to think about what's in it for them. So if you're thinking of how to build a community, I would first really do the research on who are these brand advocates, these ambassadors that you would want to onboard. What makes them tick? What's important to them? And how can you help them to be successful in what they're doing? And putting a program together in place that will continue that growth on their side will allow them to really become invested in the program and will want them to keep being motivated to work with you as well. So it ends up being a very mutually beneficial relationship, and that's the only way that it'll work.
That's great advice. Thank you.
How would you differentiate a regular fan from a brand ambassador?
I think the big difference there is that a brand ambassador is somebody who is not just a sort of superficial fan of the brand, but somebody who's willing to defend your brand and speak on your behalf and advocate on your behalf. So, yes, we have a pretty cute logo, let's say, and we have a really fun and friendly brand with our owl. And there are a lot of people that, put our stickers on their laptops, or they love to wear the Hootsuite t-shirts and such, but they aren't real advocates of the brand. They don't live and breathe our brand, and that's the big differentiator between a fan and a brand advocate for us. These are people that are social practitioners. They use our tool, they're power users, and it really helps them on a day-to-day basis in be doing their work, whether they're social media managers or their CEOs or their social media consultants. And because they have such a deep investment in using our tool, and because we are able to give them something by allowing their life in their day-to-day job to be easier, they're that much more invested, and they're that much more willing to really stand up and speak on our behalf and defend us.
Cool. Well, Justine, while I am not a member of the ambassador program, I do have one of those Hootsuite t-shirts, and I wear it often.
That's perfect.
I picked it up at a marketing conference some time ago.
That's fantastic. We are more than okay with that.
Yeah, well, I enjoy it. Well, here's what I want to do. I want to summarize kind of key takeaways from our conversation before I ask you for my final one thing takeaway. And here's what I heard from this discussion. I'm really fascinated by this ambassador program, the fact that you have launched it and grown it to where it is today. You started with 55 ambassadors, and you're at 1,400 across the world, across 4 regional communities, global. And you're really focused on these power users and who are truly, truly devoted to the brand, to the Hootsuite brand. They defend the brand. They advocate for the brand. And one of the biggest benefits you said, Justine, is that the people actually want to connect with each other and build community with each other. You talked about how you vet people. They have to go through this onboarding process, and how one of the things you're focused on in the coming year, in 2016, is not so much quantity, but quality, really getting the ambassadors to create content, maybe participate in product reviews, and again, be more qualitative than necessarily quantitative. And I love the fact that the ambassador program is part of the marketing team. You call it a division of marketing. I really find that interesting. And that gives you access to the marketing roadmap, and it allows you to really tailor your program so that it aligns with the marketing objectives. And then the last thing that you shared was advice to a brand that's maybe considering doing something similar to an ambassador program. And you said, don't limit it to the benefit to your business. I think that's really fabulous advice. Focus on it being mutually beneficial. Research to determine who the brand ambassadors might be and how you can help them. So did I leave anything out from the standpoint of key summary takeaways?
No, that sounds just about right.
Okay, terrific. Well, Justine, then my final question is my one thing question, and that is, we've just given our listeners a lot of insight into the Hootsuite Ambassador Program, rich, robust information. What is one thing that you can give my listeners that you think is a takeaway or something they can act on from this topic, this conversation?
I think the most valuable takeaway, so a piece of advice, I would say don't ever lose touch with the human aspect of community building. We're so focused on, yes, we built our community online. We continue to interact with them online, whether it's in our private community or it's through social channels, but be genuine and really care about what's important to your brand advocates and be open to adapting. And that's really something that you often have to take offline to think about. And it's really the relationships and the deeper connections that you establish that will keep your community vibrant and alive.
Outstanding. Mel, any closing thoughts on this?
Fascinating growth. Great story. I'm really glad you could share that story with us, Justine. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. And Justine, where would you like to send our listeners to check out the Hootsuite Ambassador Program online?
Absolutely. They can log into hootsuite.com/community just for a quick overview on everything that community is doing, as well as information on how to become an ambassador. But the other easier way to get in touch with us is to tweet us at @HootCommunity. And that works, in fact, probably faster.
@HootCommunity. All right. Terrific.
That's correct.
Well, everything that we just discussed, it will be in our show notes. So, Justine, thank you so much for joining us here today on the Social Business Engine podcast to share this really exciting story, the Hootsuite Ambassador Program. Very impressive. We'll be watching for continued growth and continued outstanding results. So, again, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, it was my pleasure. It was a lot of fun. Thank you so much again for having me.
Sure. And Mel, thank you for co-hosting again with me today. I'm sure my listeners got a lot out of our conversation with Justine Velcich, Manager of Global Community Programs at Hootsuite. And as you know, we have published a Social Business Journal issue in cooperation with Vanilla Forums that's titled The Community Playbook. This guide provides all the information needed to launch an online community and keep it thriving. This journal is available to download at our website, socialbusinessengine.com. Anyone can just visit our journals page or visit our show notes page for this episode at our website for a link to download the Community Playbook from Vanilla Forums. And hey, if you're mobile right now and you're wondering, as I said earlier, is it mobile friendly? You know the answer is yes, of course. And if you're already subscribed by email to get our weekly podcast updates, which we send out every Friday, then you have that link in your inbox. Just go dig it up. Now, if you're not subscribed to our weekly updates, I encourage you to subscribe so that you don't miss a future episode. Just visit our subscribe page at socialbusinessengine.com. And hey, if you're a regular listener to the Social Business Engine podcast, thank you. I really appreciate you listening. And please consider writing a review of our podcast on iTunes so that others can discover it. Just visit socialbusinessengine.com/iTunes for a direct link. Be sure to engage with us, of course, on social media channels, including Twitter, Facebook, and Google+, and follow our hashtag SBE Show. And that is going to do it for this episode. Again, I want to thank my co-host, Mel Attia, Vice President of Marketing at Vanilla Forums. This is Bernie Borges of Find and Convert, wishing you continued success on your social business journey.